Hey everybody, it's Wes, aka Joe Hunter 73. Hope everyone's having a fantastic week. And today we're going to be talking about 1986 catalog. And not just this one, got a couple more that I have on hand from 1986. But before we get into that, let's go to that viewer mail call from the last video of 1985. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's time for mail call.
Okay, here we are in the viewers mail call, and this is from the video that I did a few weeks ago. Actually, it wasn't that long ago. It just seemed like it was long ago. Just from my haul that I got from the DFW G.I. Joe toy show, showing off the Stinger there on the left-hand side. But Ronnie Trickshot there makes a comment, nice addition, great video. Thank you, Ronnie. They gone. Wow, what a great get, man. And yeah, after Joe Fest, that wallet got to be light. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is still light. It is, yeah. Yep. Foot! Stinger Driver is probably my number one Cobra. Definitely top three. Yep. It's such a great, even though it's just a repaint of the Cobra Officer. Great video. I'm always impressed with your Joe knowledge and love for your Joes. My Joe knowledge isn't that great, but thanks, Foot. I really appreciate it, man. Gaz, thank you very, very much. Good stuff. Stinger is cool. How great was it when we went down our local toy store, turned into the aisle? Yeah, that's those were the days, right? When we could just walk into KB Toys, or even back then Walmart's or Kmart's, and the aisles were filled with G.I. Joe toys, Masters of the Universe, Transformers. They were all sectioned off, but Star Wars, even back then too. Yeah, so those, just, it's not like that anymore. It's sad to say. And while the G.I. Joe boxes that seemed to go on, yep, good times. I never noticed the damage on the door either. Yeah, so I pointed out over here that I never really noticed that damage on that until when I was doing the video. I was like, wow. Maybe I noticed it when I was a kid. I just don't remember. I really don't think I noticed it until just a couple of like last week when I did that video. So yeah, see, I'm not the only one that didn't notice that. So thanks for the comment, Gaz. Really appreciate it, man. Wilhelm, oh, awesome. Thanks for the comment. Nice score. My favorite of the Vamp. Yes, it is mine too. This is my favorite one. The driver is sharp. Love the colors on him. I missed out on the reissue a few years ago, but I have a couple of Stingers in my collection, but not complete. Yeah, I missed out on the re-release of that. What was that, 2022? So, you know what? And I'm fine with it. I wasn't a big fan of the way they kind of recolored the lighter gray parts. But it's all good. I have a couple of Stingers now. Thanks, Casey. Really appreciate your comment. Spoon Killer. Funny thing, I got one in the mail as well today. That's awesome. Steve, awesome pickup. Thanks, man. Wreck Ship, 41-year-old Squeak is the newest underground cover band you never heard of. That is a great title of a band. 41-year-old Squeak. 41-year-old Squeak. Lilith, thanks for the comment, Lilith. Stinger's beautiful vehicle. I'm a fan of Lift Ticket and honestly don't like the negative feedback people give him. Yeah, I mean, Lift Ticket's a little bit of a underappreciated figure. He's just got a really great torso chest mold. I think what threw him off was his helmet. because the helmet was true to what the pilots were using back in the day for these helicopters. Yorktown Joe, appreciate the comment, man. Good deals, and thanks for sharing. Missed the 84 steering wheel, but had the driver. Got the 2023 release. Okay, so thank you, York, for letting me know it was 2023, and I think it sold out in one day. Yeah, it did. It sold out. Yeah, so I never really got back into it. So anyway, that's the comments from this, and stay tuned for the comments of another video I have before the 86 one. So we'll be right back. All right, and I want to say thank you for everyone for leaving the comments in my last catalog look at. Let's see, this was 1985. We're going to start off with Steve, G.I. Jokers. 1985 was my favorite year. It has some of my favorite Joes. Snake Eyes version 2, Airtight, Dusty, Alpine, Tomac, Samon, and Ripper, and some of my favorite Cobra figures as well. Yeah, it was a big year for Cobra, definitely. It was probably the most we got from Cobra so far leading up. So many iconic characters, another great video, West. Right back to the child. Yep. And that's what it's all about. Taking us back to our childhood memories. Going down memory lane. That's what this is really all about. That's what this hobby's about, right? It's just reliving our days in G.I. Joe land. Larry Bear, great video, Wes. 85 was definitely my favorite year for those Joes. I remember saving up allowances and money earned by working on my grandpa's farm, going to the Hills Department Store. Hills Department Store, I've heard about Hills Department Store. I never seen one. We didn't have them in Kansas. And getting Quick Kick, Lady J, Dusty, Footloose, Snow Serpent in one trip. Dang, that's awesome. Favorite figures that year were Snake Eyes version 2, Bobby Q, Alpine, Dusty, Flint, Crimson Guard. Got the Snowcat, All Striker, and Mauler for Christmas. Woo! That's an awesome Christmas. Wow. That's awesome. Thanks for the comment, Larry. That's awesome. I love memories like this. Man, I can't talk this morning. Sorry, Wilhelm. Toy and Hobby. Great video. I really enjoyed taking this trip down memory lane. See, again, that's what it's all about. That memory lane. Oh, if we could just build that DeLorean time machine and do it. So many terrific offerings this year. Footloose, Dusty. Yeah, Footloose. I really enjoyed Footloose myself. Dusty, Alpine are my favorites on the Joe side. The Dreadnoks, Snow Serpent, and Eels are the Eels and the Snow Serpent definitely are mine. Night Landing was my go-to mini vehicle, but I had all the smalls. Yep. I have a real long story about getting the ferret. I'll spare you from now. You're going to have to tell me that, man. I'll have to catch you at Joe Fest or some other time, man. Lilith, appreciate the comment. 85 was certainly a great year, and I was certainly into the full swing into Joe and everyone and family and relatives. So every birthday and Christmas, I received something from Joe. That's awesome. Yep. That's and that's how I was too. So, yep. This prize was okay. Lilith, thank you for the comments. I really appreciate it. 85 is the year I got into 3 3/4 Joes. Spoon, appreciate your comment, man. That's a great year to start. Chasing 80 Toys. Great video. In 85, it was still a 2-year wait. Man, that's crazy that it was delayed. Not delayed, but just, I guess, distributed out there that way. So in the Netherlands, until we get our first G.I. Joe posters, catalogs, and toys, before 87, we had some Action Force, but not a lot in my area. Though once we got to 87, we got most of the 84, 85, and 86 toys at once on the toy aisle. Some great play sets on 85 catalog posters like the Checkpoint Alpha. Still to this day, one of my favorite play sets. Yeah, it's a simple little play set too, but I mean, that simple little play set, you can just, the imagination, right? Just use your imagination and you can take those little play sets to a much greater aspect. Striker, just awesome. Miss 85. Yeah, 85, man. Thanks, Chris. Chris from Chasing 80 Toys. Appreciate it. Ronnie Trick Shot. Beautiful work again, Wes. Just brought... Yep, you got that armadillo at Joe Fest. I'm so glad you got that, man. That's awesome. It's a nice little miniature tank, man. Podcast from the pit. Casey, another great video, Wes. If you have the room to get that flag up. I do have the room. I'm working on it, man. I do have the room. They Gone. Appreciate it, man. They Gone. The year they buy toy. Yep, Dusty. And wanted it, but never in stores. Yep. All right, so... that's mail call for this week's video, and let's get back again. Thank you again for all the comments, and keep them up. I love talking, going down memory lane with everybody, and yeah, it's just something that's why I do these videos. I just love sharing the memories. So we'll get back to 1986. All right, we are back. Thank you again for all those comments, messages, sharing your memories from 1985. Really appreciate it. I always encourage everyone watching this channel to leave a comment, share your memories. It's the wonderful thing about this hobby is just the memories that we have from it, whether you were in it from 1982 or you didn't start until 1987. And went on through the 90s, which I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, share me your memories. So let's get into 1986. So the first thing I have on tap for us is going to be the Live Your Adventure. I don't have the brochure that it came with, but it was a Live Your Adventure brochure that you got to basically decipher a code from Cobra and put in place your team. And if you did it right, you would get something back. I'm thinking that no matter what you put, it was the right answer and they were going to mail you a certificate. It was basically assignment 1, invade Cobra Island. And you got this honorary award. So live the adventure, assignment 1, invade Cobra Island. This is to certify that, yeah, there's my name, has participated in the Live Your Adventure, assignment 1, the U.S. Orbital Defense Satellite has been located at the Cobra Volcanic Missile Launching Station for actions above and beyond the call of duty. The award is presented along with the rank of G.I. Joe Force Commander, signed by Colonel Clayton M. Abernathy, Commanding Officer, Hawk. And then the seal of approval. So pretty cool. I'm needing to get this in a little frame. I think it's pretty cool. So... yeah, kind of a neat little thing. I do remember getting this. It seemed like it took forever in the mail to get. So that was pretty cool. The next thing on the list is going to be, now this came out in 1985. There was a version of this. However, this one is dated 1986. So I checked on 3djoes.com and I found out that this was also, again, sent out in 1986. And it was a couple of little different changes on this one versus the one in 1985. So that's the reason I didn't do this in the 1985 video I did. So what's it say here? As the dawn breaks over the Cobra prison compound on a remote swamp-infested island. Swamp infested? Maybe tropical. I don't see a swamp. I think it's more tropical and infested, I guess. Infested with Cobra. Let's see here. A captive G.I. Joe recon team faces another bleak day as prisoners. But wait, suddenly the jungle becomes quiet, except for the rustling of foliage near the edge of the compound. There, an elite strike force moves quickly into position. They wait for the signal to attack. Operation Freedom has begun. Pretty cool. Let's see here. What's that say? Focus. Collect the original G.I. Joe team before it's too late. So this is basically an offer of things, again, I believe that were discontinued, not available in store, and, you know, very pre-internet. The cool thing about this is huge. This is a pretty big catalog, you know, versus the regular catalog we got. So I'm just going to unfold it here. What I like about it is the artwork. Oh, yeah. So you can order Stalker, Zap, Doc, Airborne, Grunt. Hey, there's Short Fuse getting some love. Flash and Rock and Roll. And yeah, with a flag point plus $3, you get these figures. And here is the order form. Gives you an example on how to fill it out. Important, many items in this booklet may be purchased with or without flag points. The choice is yours. Here's all you need to do. Interesting that's in North Hollywood, California. Mailed to, instead of, what was it, Pawtucket, Rhode Island? So each one of these goes through kind of a saying. So Stalker, the G.I. Joe rescue team leader, moves silently as a jungle cat to forward position to get a better sighting on a compound. But his finely tuned instincts tell him that something is not right. It's too quiet, too deserted. He picks up his M32 pulverizer submachine gun and moves back to his men. Zap, the demolitions expert, carefully readies his M79 grenade launcher. That is not an M79 grenade launcher. That's a bazooka. In the bag beside him are enough explosives to wipe out half the island. His first line of action is to take out the ammo dump with one shot. Stalker moves beside him. You're in charge of the attack. Start the second you hear gunfire or explosions. So yeah, it keeps going on, talking about what each one is going to be doing. So it's pretty cool. And so what they did here is they used what was on the card art and put them in place, right? So this is what the card art of each of these looked like when they were on the pegs, and they came in the packaged card that they were on. And if we can all remember. So I think it's kind of funny that, not funny, but yeah, it's just kind of interesting that I don't know if I picked this up as a child, that's what that was. So yeah. They're the original G.I. Joe figures. You won't find them in any store. So in 1986, yeah, you couldn't find these anymore. I wonder if any store out there, whether it be Kmart, we're talking 1986 at the time, did Kmart, probably not Walmart, because Walmart was kind of, well, where I was from in Kansas, Walmart was kind of new in our area. I want to say we probably got one in either 84 or 85. So I don't know if they were still in Kmart that you could find them sitting on a peg and they were, trying to clear them out. Can't really remember. So, and I didn't have a Toys R Us anywhere near me. So anyway, so yeah, this is a way to get these figures since they weren't available in store anymore. Now on the back of this, now this is not the card art of Major Blood, because Major Blood first was a mail-in 1983. and then came carded later on in 1983. And the Cobra officer, we can tell that's an officer because of, what do you call that? Sigil? I can't remember what that's called. But the Cobra Trooper didn't have that. But I think that's really a really cool pose. And he's just missing his Cobra sigil. Yeah, his actual sigil on his chest. And it doesn't look like the AK. That just looks like a generic rifle. And his looks like his knife is a little bit slid more over just so that you could see that there's a knife on there. I really like Major Blood on this here with his arm. So these Cobra officers have one thing in common with the G.I. Joes inside. What is it? I don't know. What is it? Tell us. It doesn't say on here. So the rest of this is basically, now it's up to you to make Operation Freedom a success. Here's a complete listing of all your battlefield choices. So it gives you the list. You can even get the Cobra water moccasin. Figure not included, so you're not going to be able to get Copperhead. However, in 1986, I did purchase a water moccasin when I did make it to a Toys R Us. It was in Phoenix, Arizona. It was the summer of 1986. I picked up a water moccasin and Serpentor and his air chariot. And this was pre-season 2. So we had, and I wasn't in the comics, so I don't know if that comic book issue was out yet. Probably not, because I want to say maybe that issue of them making Serpentor in the comics was probably released around September, late July maybe. And season 2 Sunbow animated cartoon, that didn't release until season, the miniseries Rise Serpentor Arise was in September as well, I believe. I know season 2 started in September, and I think that kicked it off. And then you can also get your Experience More G.I. Joe adventure with this Dynamite video cassette. Video cassette. That's funny. Come on, Joes. Those Cobra goons can't stop us now. Yo, Joe. Can G.I. Joe save the world from the menace of the mass device? So you get the first miniseries on, not VHS, but video cassette. So, yeah, it's pretty cool that I was able to hang on to this and that it's in this is my original one. So this is from me just toting it around all these years. So yeah. All right. Now let's get into the catalog. So I mentioned it on my last video for the 1985 catalog, how not just anticipating what that new line is going to be for the next year, but what the catalog's going to look like and how it's going to be laid out, what the dioramas are going to be, what the background setting's going to be, and how they're going to align the figures and the vehicles, aircraft, and play sets. So 1986 gives us a whole new change to not just the catalog, but the G.I. Joe stamp. Now it's more embossed, three-dimensional, bold letters with, I don't know what you call that font, but yeah, it's more three-dimensional. And we also got the digital exploding background on all the box art and card art. So how did you feel about that back then? I think it's cool now. I think as kids, we didn't really like a whole lot of change, right? We didn't accept change the way we accept change now. I think change is great. You can't be too stagnant in life. Otherwise, things just kind of falter and whatnot. And, we do need change in our lives. Sometimes just subtle change. But as a kid, for me, I hated it. So I didn't hate it. It took a little bit of an adjustment. And, 1985 was great and everything. Was probably, to me, it was my favorite year of G.I. Joe. And I want to say probably 1984 was my second favorite year. 1986, so I'm 13 years old, and I'm starting to maybe, I'm going into junior high and getting into sports, body's changing, all that crap. So your interests are starting to change as well. And that's where I'm talking about, like, we didn't really adjust to change all that great. Some better than others, but so I'm sorry, let's get back into this. But yeah, so yeah, the artwork on here is pretty cool. I like this when I was a kid. I remember liking it. But the one thing that threw me off was, like, we got all the new 86, and then you can't really see much detail, but you see a Crimson Guard. You see what looks like maybe just a Cobra trooper with a bunch of Crimson Guards around him. But then you got this guy, which we now know is a bat. And I don't know. Is that a Viper? Yeah, that's a Viper. All right, so that's the Viper. So we got 2 of the Cobras that were released that year on the front. But what threw me off was the kid. That's how we imagined, right? That's how we played, is like we were kids imagining that we are on the team with the Joes. But what's funny is, this is a, 10, 11, 12-year-old kid, and the actual Joes are his size. They're actually, what is he? Maybe 4 feet tall, maybe. And so the Joes are scaled down to him. So I didn't really notice that as a child. When I was looking at this earlier, I was like, oh wow, they're his size. So anyway, all right. 1986. So yeah, anticipating the look of the catalog and the change that all happened in 1986 from the print to the digital exploding box art and card art. And then, so on the flip side, normally we would get, where is it at? We would get something like this on all the catalogs, right? And this is the first time that that's not there. We actually get the characters on the flip side of it. So that's another change to it. So when you got one of these, immediately you were able to see the figures. You didn't have to open it up and get into the catalog. They were right there as far as the Joe side. So another thing about this catalog change is that most catalogs went from top down, except for 82. 82 went, lateral. Most of the catalogs went horizontal. So when we open this up, it's already kind of, you're getting a glimpse of something on these first pages, and so you definitely want to open it up a lot quicker. We're going to open it up on the other side though. And the other thing that I noticed on here is that one side is G.I. Joe, the other side is Cobra. And there's no dioramas. It's all a black background. So on the box art, on the vehicles, prior to this they would always put a picture on the back of the box if it was a regular cardboard box, not like if it was the Tomahawk was a drawn piece of art because it was a bigger, thicker box. Same as the Mauler. But like on the Devilfish here, the Conquest, even the Night Raven, I was kind of surprised the Night Raven didn't come with a heavier, thicker cardboard box, because that was pretty much a bigger aircraft. But so it was with a black background instead of where it was red from 82 to 85 was red, which then blended into black. But now it's just black. That's all we got. So let's dive into this. All right, so hitting it off right with the Devilfish here. Now, if you notice, this is not the Devilfish that we all got. yes, on the box art, this is what it looked like with the two missiles side by side. Everything else is pretty much the way it was supposed to be, but the devilfish we got, the missiles were, you got one missile here, another missile was up here. Same thing on that side. So this is I'm guessing a prototype. And it's the Joe's preferred sea vehicle for fast attack on Cobra outposts. The high-speed pivoting twin outboard motor jets. Joe into action in shallow waters. Joe into action. Interesting. Underwater torpedoes are part of its sophisticated weaponry. All right. And then, funny though, we don't get any 86 figures on here. We get two 85 figures. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then we have the battlefield stations again. So we get the checkpoint alpha and the the air defense. And then we have new for 86. We get the law, laser artillery weapon, and the defender outpost or outpost defender, which is very cool. Very, very popular still to this day. Yeah, that came out in 86, making sure. So yeah, these are still some of my favorite. The law was okay. It looks good when it's up against the G.I. Joe headquarters. All right, moving on. We get the Havoc heavy articulated vehicle carrier. Comes with driver cross country as mentioned here. And Cobra is no match for the Joe's roving vehicular fortress. So as a kid, I didn't really care for the Havoc at that point in time all that much. It was okay. I just thought it was a little weird. I did have a friend who had it. Just didn't, I didn't seek it out when I was in the toy stores. So I like it now. I have one. And they're still very pretty affordable on, via eBay, Mercari, wherever. Claim sales on Instagram, Facebook groups for a complete one. And then Cross Country, I like his outfit. Cross Country was always a good figure. I liked him, except for his face sculpt was a little weird and that Civil War hat. So cancel culture. And that missile looks a little bit too red on that one. And so does Lifeline. There it shows that. And then we got the Mauler and the Toss and Cross, the bridge layer from 85. And then we get this new slick looking design of a new G.I. Joe jet, the Conquest X-30, based off of the actual prototype X-29. And yeah, I remember getting a book of modern warfare aircraft for Christmas in 86, and they did have several pictures of the X-29 in there. I'm like going, oh, wow, this thing does exist. How cool is that? But yeah, it never really got put into production. And then we get the flag. So from the 85 catalog, where the flag took up a whole bottom half of the catalog, here it's just one little square. And then the tactical battle platform. All right, the Recon Sled, LCV. I want to say my 86 collection as far as vehicles is complete, except for this thing. I keep passing on it. I never really liked it. It looked like it was an uncomfortable thing to be in. And let me know your thoughts. Did you like this, the Recon Sled low crawl vehicle? I wasn't a big fan of it. I'm still not, but maybe one of these days. And then we got the Snowcat with the right sticker on it. If you remember from 85 catalog, it had a number 41 where the actual Snowcat emblem's at, which is kind of funny. And then we got the All Striker. And then we get Sergeant Slaughter's Triple T. Never had it as a kid, but I have one now. And then I also have the Transformer one, which is really, really cool. So Triple T is actually a pretty unique vehicle. Got a lot of horsepower. A lot of horsepower. Let me know what your thoughts on the Triple T. And then we got the mini vehicles here. And then we got probably the beauty of the Joe line in '86 was the Tomahawk. Tomahawk. So heavily featured in that season 2. We would still see hints of the Dragonfly mixed in, but the Tomahawk was heavily featured because they got to sell it. Now, you'll notice, again, just like on the box art on the Tomahawk, that there's something a little different. One, the chin gun is a little bit more detailed than the version we actually got. I really like this version of that chin gun. I wish it would have came with that. It's just more detailed. And then that bottom missile, it's hard to tell here, but if you go look at the box art, you might be able to tell a little bit here. No, it's not going to focus. At the right below where Lifeline is sitting, that missile has it almost looks like a torpedo type of tail fin to it. Like it was meant to be dropped from the helicopter into the water. And I kind of like that. I like that more than the one we actually got. And then we have the accessory pack. We got some wild colors with Baroness's rifle red, but that's actually kind of cool. All right, we're going to flip it on over to Cobra. All right, so (1986) Serpentor, the Cobra Emperor with Air Chariot. So as I was saying earlier, I picked this up in June of 1986 in Phoenix. I was on vacation with my grandparents, went to Toys R Us, and picked this guy up, plus the water moccasin. That water moccasin was still in store. So that was a good little pickup. And yeah. I don't have my original anymore. I have bits and pieces of my Serpentor in a bag. He has been taken apart. I took the helmet off of him. Not the helmet, but the snake mask. And yeah. Dreadnought Swampfire. You know, this is the other thing I do not have in my collection. But been thinking about getting this thing. It's kind of growing on me. It's too bad it didn't come with a Dreadnought back then. We get the Hydro Sled. I picked one up earlier this year, maybe actually a little bit or sometime last year. Kind of came around on it. It's kind of a cool vehicle. You can use it either for on sea, or I like how G.I. Joe Berg's channel used it in one of their play motions, that it's actually an underwater vehicle, which is actually really cool. They're the ones that kind of sold me on it. So, and then up here we get the Cobra Bunker and the new 1986 Surveillance Port. So the Surveillance Port is actually really cool. It's a nice little tiny base that you can tie into the Cobra Bunker. And then you got the rifle range. Oh no, it's ripping. New for 86, another Dreadnought vehicle with Thrasher. The vehicle driver Thrasher. The Dreadnought Thunder Machine. I still have my original, and I love this thing. When I got this in 86, it was fabulous. I love this vehicle. Such a cool vehicle. Very Mad Maxy. Mad Max? Mad. It's very Mad Max. Yeah, Mad Max. So yeah, that was a really cool vehicle. And I'm a big fan of the Stun. Little tricycle. It's a big wheel version, right? And yeah, I don't have my flags or my saddle, the compartments on the side. But if you notice, and it's like this on the box art and on the back of the box, these are black. The one we got is red. Everything else looks about what we got. So no, I like the Stun. I think it's a cool looking vehicle. Again, another heavily featured vehicle in the season 2 cartoon. And the little trick that it does with the stickers that say DEFCON 1 through 5, I think that was funny that they used DEFCON 1, DEFCON 2 as far as the stages, how it would split. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, let's slide on over here. Let's look at the figures. So, Hawk, dial tone, wetsuit, leather neck, roadblock, version 2, whole new gear setup. It took me a while to get used to his gear, but I actually really like it. I think the figure looks better than what he was portrayed in as in the cartoon. The figure looks better as far as that getup goes. Then we get a big fan favorite, Beachhead. So, how did you play with your figures in G.I. Joe? So, a lot of these figures I got before season 2 came out, and so I would read their file cards, and sometimes I would just base my imagination based off of the file card. So, you know, Beachhead was he was rude, very authoritative in G.I. Joe's cartoon. I didn't play him like that. Yeah, it's like him and like Leatherneck and Wetsuit were always battling each other, arguing. One's a SEAL, one's a Marine. So, you know, I didn't play like that with them. Of course, I didn't have Wetsuit either growing up. Then you got Mainframe, Low Light, and let's go back, still back over here. Sci-Fi, Lifeline, Iceberg, and then we got the 85s, Dusty Alpine, Footloose, Bazooka, Barbecue, Snake Eyes, Quick Kick, Lady J, Shipwreck, Flint, Airtight. And then for Cobras, the new Cobras, we got the weird, the wild, the wacky Dr. Mindbender. Viper, all-time favorite Cobra. That's right. He is my all-time favorite Cobra. If I'm looking for a figure I don't have and I come up and I see it, and then next to it, I'll see a Viper, 9 times out of 10, I'm picking up the Viper. I'm like, I already have a Viper. Why do I need another one? We get new Zartan's sister and Zartan's brother, Zarana and Zendar. And I liked both of these as a kid. I really did. I liked Xandar a lot. I liked that spear gun that he had. I thought it was pretty cool. And I didn't get that version of Zarana. I have one now, but I didn't have one back then. And then we got 85s, Buzzer, Ripper, and Torch. And then the new for 86, we have Monkey Wrench. He makes a tough case for being one of my favorite Dreadnoks. I still like the original 3, and Buzzer is usually my favorite. I just like the chest mold that he has. Yeah, but Monkey Wrench, I definitely like his head sculpt. Is my favorite. And if you haven't noticed, that's who my profile picture is Monkey Wrench's face. Interesting that it's painted black through his grenade bandolier. It's kind of cool. And then you have the Bat, another big fan favorite. And notice the Bat's face on this. Very different. Would you have preferred this head sculpt or the one that we actually got? Interesting. And you got the twins. And down here to finish off Cobras, we got Storm Shadow still available from 84. Who else from 84 is on here? Anybody? No. And then the top of the line from 85, Crimson, Eels, Snow Serpent, and Televiper. And another accessory pack. Number 4. All right. Now let's get into, now I was saying I almost have an 86 complete. Other than the Swamp Fire and that little sled crawler for on the G.I. Joe side of it, but I also don't have the Terradrome. Yeah, I do have the Fire Bat. Sorry. But yeah. Let's see, what's the ultimate fortress lies deep within Cobra's forest. A super realistic base for planning attacks against Joe. The secret launch mechanism activates silo doors and elevator rises a fire bat for launch. Upper and lower levels include computer stations, fuel stations, and gun ports, and an enemy holding area. Firebat comes complete with articulated wings, opening canopy, and Cobra pilot AVAC. Other figures sold separately. Who likes the Terradrome? And then it actually tells you the size and everything. And that's the other thing with this one. I can't remember if it did that on 1985, but if you notice, it gives you dimensions of all the vehicles and aircrafts and playsets. Here we got the hydrofoil, Cobra hydrofoil, night landing, and the mother of all aircraft. Best of the best. Stratoviper's Night Raven. Such a beautiful bird this is. I'm a big fan of the SR-71, and when I saw this come out, I had to have it. I purchased this on my birthday in July of 1986 after watching Top Gun. I'll actually be doing a video of that closer this month of July, but of just the Night Raven. Night Raven's super cool. 3 times the speed of sound, the supersonic jet is designed for high speed or high altitude surveillance and bombing. And its piggyback drone serves as a one-man recon jet. Cockpit lowers for boarding with retracting landing gear and bomb racks. Removable missiles, pods, Cobra pilot Stratoviper. Other figures sold separately. So there you have it. 1986 in all of its glory. All right, everyone, tell me your memories from 1986. What was your most memorable pickup in 1986, if you can remember? What's your favorite out of this? Which one did you get that you didn't like? Maybe someone gifted you something. Maybe you got the what was it called? I don't even like it. I always forget it. Maybe you got this as a gift, and you're just like, it's like getting a pair of socks for Christmas. But yeah, tell me your thoughts. Tell me your memories. Put them in the comments below, and I'll share them on my next video. Until then, this is Joe Hunter 73. Hope everyone has a fantastic week. Yo, Joe.
G.I. Joe will return after